Hi, I am Dr. Pratap Singh Rathod. I have done MD in forensic medicine. In today's video, I will continue with medical autopsy. In last video, I discussed about dissection of abdomen. In this video, I will discuss about dissection of head and spine. To dissect the head, abdomen block is first placed under the shoulders so that the neck and is extended. A head is flexed on the by the headrest so that dissection becomes easier. Next, scalp incision is taken. Scalp incision starts is a coronal incision which is made in the scalp, starts from the mastoid process just behind one ear and is carried out over the vertex of the scalp. So first incision starts from the mastoid process, goes to the vertex of the head and it is carried forward on the back side, and that over the vertex of the scalp to the back of the opposite ear, that is intermastoid incision, is taken. Next, the scalp is separated on both the side till the superior ridges in the front and till the occipital protuberance in the back. The scalp is referred forwards to the superior ridges and backwards to the point just below the occipital protuberance. Any bruising of the deeper tissues of the scalp or injury to the bone should be noted. The scalp incision usually should also include periosteum so that the complete till the bone layer is visible. So any form of fractures, any form of bruises, or any form of any abnormalities in the scalp, under the scalp, any of hemorrhages is present has to be noted. Next, temporal and masseter muscles are cut on either side for sawing of the skull. So usually there is temporal muscles are usually present here, has to be cut to expose the skull so that the skull incision can be taken. A saw line is made in the slightly V-shaped direction so that the skull cap will fit exactly back in the correct position. So usually this V-shaped incision is V-shaped saw line is made. The skull is cut using a electrical saw. Chisel should not be used. The V-shaped is used preferable because the skull can be inserted properly again when the body has to be reconstructed. The saw line should go through the bones along the line extending horizontally on both the sides from about the center of forehead to the base of the mastoid process. So the saw starts from the front of the middle of the forehead and along the horizontally till the mastoid process, and from this later points backwards upwards to the point a little above the external protuberance. So from forehead to the mastoid process, from there to the occipital protuberance. So this is the preferred V-shaped incision. This V-shaped skull saw line is done for skull. One more is horizontal, can also be taken sometimes, where it is drawn directly above the skull and the skull cap is opened horizontally. So surrounding the skull incision is done. As thickness of skull varies, care should be taken to avoid sawing through the meninges and brain. So sawing takes little bit patience, and whenever the resistance is less, the saw is stopped, and usually because the thickness varies, so it is thinner in the temporal region, thicker in the frontal. So care should be taken while sawing. The skull is removed gently by inserting and twisting the chisel at various places through the cut, and skull is removed. To detect fractured skull, cracked pot sound can be elicited by tapping the fractured skull. So if the skull is tapped before sawing, if there is any fracture is present, it will sound like a cracked pot, like a hollow pot it will be sound. Next, exposing the meninges. So after the skull cap is removed, the meninges which can be seen. So meninges are examined for presence of any congestion, diseases, etc. looked for. Then a note should be made on the extradural or subdural hemorrhages or any type of intercurrent tension if it is present. If intercurrent tension is present, so the meninges will be tensed and can be visible. The superior longitudinal sinus is opened along its length. Antimotor thrombus in sinuses can lead to back pressure and cause subdural hemorrhage, which should be looked for. So if any after taking a incision in the longitudinal sinus, presence of thrombus is looked for, and if there is a thrombus, it may lead to subdural hemorrhage. So for that purpose, it has to be carefully looked. Next, dura mater is dissected. Dura is cut along the line of detached skull cap. So usually dura mater surrounding the skull. Pulled gently from the front and back while cutting the falx cerebri and examined for subdural or subarachnoid hemorrhage. So usually the dura is fixed in the falx cerebri in the frontal region. So first the incision is taken and it is reflected backwards, and along the skull line, along the sawed skull, the dura is also cut along the circulary and dura is exposed backwards. After removing the dura mater, subdural hemorrhage can be washed. Should be looked for. Subdural or subdural hemorrhage, if present, has to be looked for. If there is subdural hemorrhage is present, it can be washed easily, whereas subarachnoid hemorrhage cannot be washed. So gentle examination, just little bit water on the hemorrhage. If it is washed off, it indicates it is a subdural hemorrhage. If it is still present, it indicates it is subarachnoid hemorrhage. Next, after exposing the dura, the brain is exposed and brain should be removed. So brain is removed by inserting the four fingers of left hand between the frontal lobes. The frontal lobe is has to be is looked for. The hand is placed in the frontal lobe and drawing the frontal lobes backwards. The frontal lobe is lifted up and it is lifted backwards and cutting the vessels and nerves at the base. So as the frontal lobe is lifted, any vessels, nerves are present in there are incised out. The tentorium is cut along the posterior border of the petrous bone and the brain is removed. A knife is passed into the suboccipital foramina and cervical cord, cervical nerves, cranial and cerebral arteries, cut as far as below as possible. So nerves, cervical nerves, arteries, whichever is present, has to be cut up to the level of brain. Right hand grasps the cerebellum and brain is removed from cranial vault. If any intracranial hemorrhages is present, the blood should be collected and measured. The surface and base are examined for hemorrhages, injury or diseases. So after completely removing the brain, so at the base of the skull, if any hemorrhages are present, if any form of fracture is present, has to be noted. The condition of cerebral vessels, especially the vessels in the circular filus, as is noted for presence of arteriosclerosis, minute aneurysms, etc. Mainly benign aneurysm is commonly present, which is present in the circular filus, which has to be looked for, and sometimes brain aneurysms may be ruptured, which can be examined by just washing and dissecting the palpating the vessels. Cerebral infarctions is looked, which may occur due to presence of thrombus or atheroma or due to raised intracranial pressure. So if any cerebral infarction is present, which has to be looked, which is caused mainly by presence of thrombus or atheroma in leading to raised intracranial pressure and death. Next, brain is dissected. The brain is placed on the normal articular position and with a long knife, two halves of the brain are separated through corpus callosum. So vertical incision is taken in the brain and the brain is separated into two halves, meaning along the corpus callosum incision is taken by using the brain knife. The cerebellum is cut straight down through the vermis to expose fourth ventricle. So after the cutting, the ventricles are exposed. So cerebellum is also cut along the straight down through the vermis to expose the ventricles. To expose the dentate nucleus, cut obliquely through each hemisphere. So through the cerebellum, through the dentate nucleus, it is cut obliquely to expose hemisphere. Then whole of the brain stem, which is usually present along the brain, is sectioned transversely at intervals. So to dissect the brain stem, it is dissected transversely at multiple intervals at few millimeters to demonstrate hemorrhages or other abnormalities for detection. Then cerebral hemispheres are placed base down on the board, then pole passing backwards to the occiput at intervals about 1 cm. So usually longitudinal incision is done 1 cm in length from frontal to occipital lobe. It is usually done. This is one method of dissecting the brain along the long axis. Otherwise, one more method is taking a horizontal cut through the cerebrum and coronal plane from frontal lobes to temporal lobe to the occipital lobe. So one more method is dissecting from the going from frontal lobe to the temporal lobes to the occipital bone up to about 1 cm. Again, incisions at regular interval incisions are taken to detect any abnormalities, hemorrhages or any form of abnormalities present. The fornices and the corpus callosums are cut and bent backwards for examination. Thalamus and choroid nucleus is also examined for any presence of any thrombus, any form of hemorrhage. The ventricles are examined for any presence of thrombus or emboli. Again, it may lead to increased intracranial pressure to look. So because of that, thrombosis presence ventricles are examined. If there are injuries to the brain, successive sections parallel to the wounded surface should be made till the whole depth of lesion is seen. So before any if any injuries is present, like any form of is there, then incisions has to be taken till the injury is present. So it may be present in the three dimensionally, so all the layers has to be examined carefully till all the level of injuries is completely exposed. Next, dissection of head in case of infants. So in infants, special care has to be taken in dissection of skull since it is not completely calcified. So usually Recontaxis method is adopted. The scalp flaps are reflected as in adults, so coronal section is taken and scalp is reflected similar to that of adults. With a knife, incision is made about anterior fontanella at its posterior margin about 5 meters from the midline. Then the cranium and dura on both sides are cut with blunt scissors starting at the lateral edges of the anterior fontanella, extending the incision along the midline and lateral sides of the skull. So usually anterior fontanella posterior about 5 centimeter from the midline, about 5 centimeter from the midline. Using the scissors, the skull can be easily cut. It is cut along the anterior lateral edge of the fontanella along the edges and extended out the both sides, using on the similar repeated on the both the sides. This causes the skull flap to open like a butterfly. The incision is done. So midline strip about 1 centimeter wide containing the superior sagittal sinus and a flux is left. So here the midline part of the skull is left containing the sinuses in between the temposcoma and other side which serves as a hinge when the bone is reflected as a butterfly manner. One more alternate method is cutting, which follows the cranial suture lines. So one method is cutting was 5 cm extending from the lateral edges of the frontal fontanella. One more method is cutting along the sutures. So the frontal coronal sutures from the lateral, then the lambdoid sutures, cutting along that is the one more method which can be easily again reconstruction. So reconstruction becomes easier. After reflecting the flaps, the vertex of the brain and termination of the paraveins into superior longitudinal sinuses are examined for hemorrhages. The hemispheres are gently pushed sideways and falx cerebri is examined. The falx is celebrated at its anterior inferior insertion and brain is removed as in case of adults. So separating falx cerebri, the brain is extracted and removed. So that is the how then after brain is removed and it is dissected as in the adults only. Next, coming to dissection of the skull bones, base of the skull. So in the base of the skull, the bones again some parts are remaining, like middle ear can be examined by chiseling a wedge shaped portion of petrous temporal bone. So using a chisel, petrous bone can be chiseled out to examine the middle ear. Mastoid is examined by nipping away the bone with a pair of bone forceps. Orbits can be examined by removing the orbital plates in the base of the skull. Again, if it is indicated, like if any injuries are present, if some injuries has been detected, then it can be done. Then sphenoid and frontal sinuses are opened from the inside of the skull by the chisel. Pituitary is removed by chiseling the posterior clinoid process. So posterior clinoid process are chiseled out, and the pituitary gland which is present inside the bone can be removed and examined. Abscess formation in or septic condition, etc. about the jaws and teeth should be looked for in cases of sinuses. Now coming to dissection, that completes the dissection of head, skull and the brain. Next, coming to dissection of the vertebral column. So vertebral column, atlanto occipital, first the head atlanto occipital joint which is present just below the brain, below the head base of the skull, should be examined for any fractures, dislocation bowing the head on the spine. So if it is free movable or difficulty movable has to be detected. If rigor mortis is present, it is difficult to move. If rigor mortis has passed away, then head can be moved, and if there are any fractures should be noted. Then cervical, thoracic and lumbar spines should be examined for by pushing and spinal forwards to detect any fractures. So if there is a abnormal flexing of the spine is present, indicates there is fractures is present. The pelvis should be squeezed from side to side by mobility of the pelvis, which indicates the fracture. So if the pelvis is pushed from side to side from both the sides, then if there is fractures is present, it will buckle up in the center, which indicates there is a fracture of the pelvic bone is present. To dissect the spinal cord, Usually it is not examined routinely, but if there is an indication, it has to be dissected. Mainly in cases of spinal cord poisons, it is usually done, or in case of fractures, if indication is present, it has to be dissected. The body is placed prone on the table, face downwards. The person is the body is placed on the face downwards with hand on the back, and midline incision is taken from the occipital bone to the sacrum. The wooden block is placed on the chest and the head is bent downwards. Then incision is made from the back in the midline, extending from the occipital protuberance to the lower end of sacrum, and the muscles are dissected away from the top of the spinal column, noting their condition. So midline incision is taken on the body, then the skin is reflected, then any muscles which are present attached to the spinal cord has to be reflected. Then laminar or short close to the transverse processes through the entire length of the spine on each side of the spinous process. So usually in the spinal cord lateral processes are present, which has to be cut, and the laminar is removed, so which leaves the spinal cord in the spinal column. The dura is slit open along the midline with scissors, and the presence of hemorrhage, inflammation, suppuration, infarction, degeneration, crushing or tumor is noted. So once the spinal column is exposed, the dura is dura is cut, and spinal is examined. The cord which is separated has to be separated is lifted and cut from the foramen magnum. Then later on, the cord is dissected transversely and serially. So length of the spinal cord is removed and it is dissected transversely to look for any type of hemorrhages or any form of anything abnormality has to be detected. Then empty spinal canal, which has to be examined for presence of disc protrusions, tumors, fractures, dislocation, and vertebral columns. So if empty spinal canal has to also be examined. If fracture is present, has to be elicited. If any abnormalities is present like dislocation, collapse, has to be looked for. So that completes the dissection of head and neck. These are my references. Thank you.